Hey everyone, this is your captain speaking, and I'm so happy to be with you this morning. There is so much happening in the month of December in terms of astronomy, the uh, the beauty of the nighttime sky, especially, and we'll also be talking about the astrological way of uh, thinking about these things and meditating on the sacred astronomy that we get blessed to witness this month. And so, yes, I think I'm going to just sort of do an overview here of all the cool shit that's happening in December. We're going to be focusing a whole lot on this very long Venus Pluto conjunction that's already full on for the last week, and it's going to be through the whole month of December and into what does it go till? Until about mid January. So we're in like deep Venus Pluto territory already, and it's just going to get deeper. We're going to go deeper into love, deeper into beauty, deeper into what is most attractive to us and most attractive of us, about us. And yes, the power that attracts. We're going to talk about that. And so, yes, Venus Pluto conjunction, and it's joined by Mercury around December 22nd through January 6th. So that adds a real twist. Mercury brings its language, its words, its communications with Venus Pluto of deep love, communications deep from the heart. And then there's so much else that's going on. Let's see here, just to list. There's, of course, a solar eclipse happening on December 4th, and we're going to talk about how the moon will join Venus and Pluto on basically December 5th through the 7th. And so there's going to be a moon, Venus, Pluto triple conjunction on those dates. And that is the last time we'll get to see a crescent moon with Venus in the evening sky for over a year, I believe. At least a year. I think that's right. Sometime next year, Venus will come back into the evening sky. But this is the last time for a while that we'll have a moon Venus conjunction in the evening sky. Or Venus herself is going to leave the evening sky. I have that here somewhere. Yeah, she leaves the evening sky around January 5th. So she's going to be blessing our evening skies all December. And I think this is the ultimate month for honoring Venus and for going out to see her as much as possible. You're not going to get to see her in the evening for a real long time. And she's going to come back to the morning, but that means waking up early. And that can be challenging sometimes. This is the last time you'll be able to just saunter over towards the western horizon just after sunset in the evening at the end of your day. Just saunter over to see her, and she waves to you. She's like, "Hi, thank you for coming out to see me. I love seeing you every day." That's what Venus is all about. Seeing your sweetie every day, seeing your lover every day. That's what we want. No, that's what Venus wants as well. She wants us to come and check her out every night for the rest of this year. It's not that hard. If the weather allows, you just go out and you look to the west just after sunset, and she'll just come out. She's so radiant and super bright right now. It's impossible to miss her. She's always the third brightest object in the sky, the sun, the moon, and then Venus is the third brightest object in the sky, and therefore she's always very easy to see, basically. But in some parts of her cycle, like now, when the planet Venus is coming closest to the Earth, that's what's happening right now. This month and next month, Venus is closest to the Earth. Venus is doing a flyby of planet Earth. Venus is doing a flyby of planet Earth right now. And so there's never been a better time to let Venus know you love her. And then, you know what she does? Just like what we do when somebody says, I love you, we say, I love you also. And so if you go out and say, I love you to Venus every night for the rest of this month, I guarantee you, she'll tell you she loves you back. And how will she do that? Through bringing you awesome, yummy, beautiful, pleasurable experiences. Did I say that right? That you're going to be able to have more pleasure, more yummy experiences, more beautiful experiences than ever before this month. Would you believe me? And so, yes, talking about Venus here, and we're going to go deeper, but I kind of got ahead of myself. I was trying to do an overview. And yes, where was I? The solar eclipse, December 4th, the Moon-Venus conjunction, the last evening sky Moon-Venus conjunction, December 5th, December 6th, December 7th. Most exact on the 6th. That's when they're going to be right next to each other. And then after that, you got to be looking out for the Geminid meteor shower, December 12th to the 14th, peaking basically the end of the day, the 13th, early morning on the 14th. I'll come back to that. Then we're going to talk about Comet Leonard. Leonard? I want to say Leonard because of the sun sign Leo. Comet Leonard. Comet Leonard. I don't think that's a great name for a comet. Do you? Comet Leonard. It's Leonard who spotted the comet. So I guess we have to give that guy credit. Anyway, Comet Leonard is already visible through binoculars. I haven't seen the comet yet, but I'm for sure going to be going out there looking for it, and I'm going to tell you more about that. Venus retrograde starts December 19th. I'll say something about that. Jupiter's going to move into Pisces and 20 degrees from Neptune. We're heading into the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction of 2021, and we're being pulled out to sea with it, especially when Jupiter moves into Pisces at the very end of the month, December 29th. Is that right? Yes, that's right. And then there's a couple of other things that I may or may not get to. We'll have to see. So, okay. So, the thing I want to talk the most about is Venus. She deserves to be talked about a lot. And so I'm going to try to talk about her quite a bit here. And it's because there's so much awesomeness happening with Venus all month long. And all of January as well, when she rises triumphant in the morning sky. This is her triumphant phase in the evening sky, December. And January is her triumphant phase in the morning sky. And so we get to witness Venus triumphant. And so what is it when someone triumphs? We have to respect them, bow down before them, because they have triumphed over all darkness. Venus's triumph over darkness. I think that's what we're talking about. I think that's a big theme. Venus's triumph over darkness. Venus's triumph over shadow. That's what we're talking about with the Venus-Pluto conjunction that goes from November 21st to January 13th. That's 7 whole weeks of Venus conjunct Pluto. It's already full on happening right now. Where is it right now? Venus is just 5-6 degrees away from Pluto. I mean, it's full on. So those two are in their most intimate dance right now. The most intimate dance that Venus and Pluto can do is happening right now. And we're able to witness it and talk about it and explore it, be transformed by it. And so, yes, when you look up in the sky at Venus right now, you have to imagine that directly behind her, if you just could stare out into the ultimate void of deepest, darkest space, that's where Pluto is. It's easy to find Pluto right now because all you have to do is look at the third brightest object in the sky, Venus, and she's incredibly obvious to see right now. Sometimes it's a little harder. You know, she can, her brightness varies throughout the year, or throughout her cycle, where she can be totally invisible for a couple months in her cycle, and then much more faintly visible, but still brighter than any star, but fainter when Venus is either first coming back to the evening sky or when she leaves the morning sky. She can be quite a bit fainter, but as I mentioned, when Venus is closest to the Earth, as she is right now, she is just spectacularly beautiful. And it's like I went on a long walk yesterday. The way I would say it is, I was profoundly pulled to go out into the beautiful weather that San Francisco was blessed to have yesterday. And at first I was pulled by the sun because it was unusually warm. I was pulled by the sun to get out of my apartment and out in the direction of the sun. So I walked west. I didn't know exactly where I was going, but I had a good amount of time and I was feeling very high energy. And so I was pulled to just keep walking towards the sun. And at a certain point, I realized, okay, I'm going to the ocean. And so I was pulled also by the sea, pulled by Neptune, but I was pulled towards the sunset and most definitely pulled by Venus to try to see her just after sunset when the sky is the most beautiful, right? At sunset, if you get lucky, like I did yesterday, where there's some fog, some haze, some clouds, some haze, not so much fog yesterday, that kind of created a lovely sunset with kind of pastels, and it was just gorgeous. And as Venus emerged in the twilight, she was there against the backdrop of these beautiful pink and blue clouds, and that was the display. That was the display of Venus, the way she creates art in nature. That's Venus-Pluto, the way in which she creates art in nature. And by that I mean, like when you actually go out into nature, that's Pluto, and observe Venus at whatever time you do, whether it's just after sunset in that beautiful light right after sunset, or a little later when the sky is totally dark, or depending on like what the weather, the clouds are doing. It's like you go out and observe her in nature, and you see her particular beauty against the backdrop of the sky. And for me, I love to see her like right next to trees, or where you can see humans in the your line of sight, or if you're taking a photo like I like to do. It's like you see her and choose the surroundings that you look at her from. Like if you go to a particularly beautiful or interesting spot to observe her, then you're getting that very unique experience of nature, Pluto, and the unique beauty of that place and the unique beauty of Venus herself witnessed as witnessed from that place. And so, yes, this is Venus-Pluto, the power of her beauty to shape our lives. That's big for me. The power of Venus's beauty, and the beauty that I experience when I go to see her someplace awesome in nature. When I do that, I'm investing time to go on an expedition to experience Venus's beauty in a natural landscape. By natural, I mean, like last night, it was at Ocean Beach here in San Francisco. There were tons of people around, there were cars all around, and people on their phones and all of that. Very human, but humans are, of course, a big part of nature, or animals, like all the other amazing, beautiful animals on this good earth. And and so yes, it's like we're pulled to have a unique experience of nature and nature's beauty and nature's love, the way in which your heart opens in beautiful landscapes, and the experience of love in those moments when you're having that exquisite experience of beauty and nature coming together. But it was like last night for me, it was at Ocean Beach, right near the San Francisco Zoo, and there was a unique vantage point there. And the way the sands are and the dunes are there is different from other parts of the beach. And the particular humans that tend to go to that particular spot bring their unique beauty. And it was like observing Venus from that position. I was seeing the artistry of that particular spot on Earth, the art created by the humans and the waves and the sky all coming together. And so, what am I saying? I hope you'll have a lot of these kind of experiences in the next month. Please set some time aside to go see Venus after sunset. Set an hour aside. That would be an awesome amount of time to have a nice date with Venus. You know, you go have a coffee date with Venus, someplace awesome and beautiful. If you want to have a longer date that might lead to deeper places, then maybe you get to the sunset an hour before sunset and you hang out a whole hour after sunset. That's a 2 hour date. That's very different than a 1 hour date. Or if you go for 3 hours or even 4 hours, you can see Venus come out and then you can watch her set over the western horizon. Something particularly beautiful and pleasurable about staying out in the evening long enough to watch Venus move towards setting. It's, yeah, there's a certain pleasure in that, and there's a certain quality of pleasure and beauty that comes from watching that whole process of Venus first coming out into the evening sky, and right now so bright. She first emerges, so striking, so beautiful, the quality of the light at that moment. And then as things get darker and then darkest, and what's she like when she's close to the horizon, when there's more of the Earth's atmosphere there. And so she's not quite as bright right at the end, but there's something special there, right as she's about to descend below the horizon. And it's like being able to watch that whole thing is having a real long date with Venus. You know what I'm saying? And where those long dates can go, because Venus and Pluto, of course, together have a lot to do with human sexuality and the power of human sexuality and how powerfully attracted we are to each other because of the power of our animal sexuality. It's more than animal, but our animal bodies are attracted to other animal bodies. And there is a power there that is so profound that humans are always meditating on, whoa, what is this? What is this powerful feeling that I have that compels me to be near other animals, other animal beings? Don't confuse me there. I mean human animals. I mean human animals. Though Venus-Pluto is also the combination of beloved animal companions, our pets especially, but all human animal relationships, Venus and Pluto have a lot to do with. And so it is the combination of a nature lover and animal lover. And I would say that that's one of the best ways into this energy and all of its potential is through a meditation and deep connection with the pets in our lives and perhaps the pets of friends or family, where when you're with that amazing creature, your heart opens and you experience what can only be called love. And so these animal friends that we have get to teach us so much about love and what it is to be pulled by love, because it's like, I know with my beloved pet, Lola, she's a parrot. Most of you know this, but I have an amazing red fan parrot named Lola, and I've had her for nearly 7 years, and so it's been like 7 years of like this incredibly deep connection with a bird. And what is it to experience the love of a bird and love for a bird? It's very unique. It's a unique kind of love that only someone who's had birds for pets can really truly understand. And it's like Lola teaches me so much about love and the power of love and how it shapes our lives, how the force of gravity that is love bends space-time, bends space-time. And this was something I meant to say earlier, but it's like the power of Venus to shape our timelines. Like yesterday, I don't know, I spent, it was a 3 or 4 hour walk, and where I was very focused on being pulled by nature, pulled by Venus, pulled by the sun towards the western horizon here in San Francisco, which happens to be the Pacific Ocean. And so I was pulled there. But when you spend that much time, 4 hours, doing something, it profoundly shapes that day, right? And it's like when you let something profoundly shape your day, it bends your timelines. It bends your timelines. And if you're doing something like that, spending time in nature, spending time in the pleasurable contact with nature, if you really invest a good amount of your time, then your life really gets shaped by Venus, by Pluto. You're pulled by her so strongly that your life changes. And we can see this most clearly when a new friend or lover comes into our lives. And our hearts open towards that new friend. And it's like you want to be with that new friend as much as possible, or as much as feels balanced, I should say. I'm a Libra, and Venus is Libra's sign. And so, yes, it's all about having balanced relationships with all of the planets. Having balanced relationships with all of the planets, including the Earth. Balance of intimacy with the Earth, with the Sun, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Balance in our lives in terms of our relationships with each of them. And Venus with Pluto has a lot to say about that. Venus-Pluto is love for nature, including the forces of nature that are a solar system or are this solar system. It's like Venus is love for each of the planets. That's what we're talking about. Our love in a balanced way for each of the planets. And Venus herself is the embodiment of love, and she teaches us how to love all of the planets in a balanced way. That's what she's doing, loving all of the planets, the sun, the moon, in a balanced way. She doesn't favor anybody in a sense. Her love is true. Her sweetness is distributed amongst all. But maybe she gives more of her sweetness to some of the planets. I don't know. I feel like she loves the Earth the most and our moon. No, okay, she loves the sun first and foremost because it gives her light, it gives her life, it makes the whole thing possible. So she is eternally devoted to the sun. But after that, she loves Mercury, but I'll get back to Mercury. She loves the Earth most of all. If you can imagine being on Venus and looking out towards the Earth and how compelling we would be to her, how compelling and amazing we seem to her. Can you imagine? She gets to see everything. She's blown away by the sun. Mercury's just always moving, and it's hard to keep track of Mercury. Mercury's kind of like Venus's kind of her sibling, but her fun and unpredictable sibling. That's Mercury. But then it's like Earth. Earth is everything to Venus. She sees us and she's just as dazzled by us as we are of her each night or morning. And sometimes she comes closer to us, like she is right now. And she's coming towards us and she's getting very excited, as we do when we get to see someone we love, when we plan to see them, and then when we actually do get closer and closer to seeing them. It's very beautiful and sweet how that works. And Venus is feeling that towards us right now. She's looking out at us and she's like, oh my God, Earth is getting brighter every day. Earth is getting brighter every day. And do you see that amazing blue color that Earth has? She's just, wow, there's Earth. And so she's totally in love with us, and she teaches us a lot about love by seeing her in love with us. And then she also loves Mars, but Mars is sometimes distant. He goes off on adventures and you never know when he's going to come back. And so not as dependable as the Earth. Venus loves Jupiter too, of course. Venus is huge in her awareness, but that's a story for another time. Not too long from now, Venus will conjoin Jupiter next spring, but that's another video. So yes, Venus also loves Saturn, and Venus loves Uranus and Neptune and Pluto. And right now, she gets to be right up close to Pluto and the Earth. She's being held by the Earth on one side and Pluto on the other. That's what's happening astronomically. And it's like Earth, Venus, Pluto alignment happening right now and into January. And I don't think I said, but Venus is going to go retrograde on December 19th. And as soon as Venus goes retrograde, you know what's happening. That phenomenon, the way in which Venus seems to be moving backwards against the backdrop of the stars, it's like that is an optical illusion that's created because Venus is going into her flyby of the Earth. And just like when you're speeding down the highway, Earth is speeding down the highway, and we pass Venus, and she appears to go backwards in the rearview mirror. Anyway, that's why it looks like she's going retrograde, because she's getting so close to us. And that's just, the 19th is just 3 weeks away. And so we're moving into that phase where Venus is getting super close to us. And so she will go retrograde and just stay in that conjunction with Pluto. So it's this super long Venus-Pluto conjunction. Often that could just be a 2-week thing, a conjunction with Venus and Pluto. But because she's in her retrograde phase, it's going to be a nearly 3-month Venus-Pluto conjunction with a break. It's 7 weeks first, November 21st to January 13th, and then it'll come back to be conjunct Pluto February 17th or so to March 17th. So an additional month that will happen. So basically what's that? Mid-January to mid-February, Venus is not really conjunct Pluto. But then mid-March, or mid-February to mid-March, she's back with Pluto. And so over the course of 3 months, over the course of 4 months, Venus is conjunct Pluto 3 months. And so, yes, what am I trying to say? This is a very long Venus-Pluto conjunction, and something that long gets into you. It gets deeper into you. And there's a potential for going deeper into what these two are about. Instead of just 2 weeks of an initiation into the nature of Venus and Pluto's intimacy, it's nearly 3 months. And so I guess that's what I'm saying. I'm encouraging you to go on a deep philosophical inquiry into the nature of deep profound, transformational love. The way in which when you fall in love with a new friend, it's like they pull your life towards them. Your life gets pulled in the direction of that other person, and everything is shaped by it. Every day is shaped by it. Your choices are shaped by it. Who you're hanging out with, for how long, all of that's shaped by the power of your attraction and love force between you and another person or persons. And so, yes, that's what we're talking about. These are the months to surrender to the power and force of love, to surrender and allow yourself to be transformed and evolved and enlivened by the force of love. And it's like, if you're someone out there that has had a hard time finding love, well, now's the time to reflect and surrender and be willing for that to change. That's what I think. If you've had heartache in your life, and Venus-Pluto definitely has something to do with certain kinds of pain associated with love, intimacy, pleasure. And it definitely has something to do with wounds of the heart, pangs of the heart, the most challenging experiences when you're attracted to someone or in love with someone. You feel that you're in love with someone. The profound pain that can sometimes go with, say, an unrequited love, where you're perhaps obsessed with the unavailable person. That unique pain. And I don't know if I'm the only one who's ever experienced like real jealousy. Oof, it's been a while for me. But yeah, that's an intense one. And Venus-Pluto has a lot to say about it and teach about it, because I would say that that kind of obsessive heart pain, jealousy towards another person it's indicative of something really being off, or somehow you're not getting enough medicine from Venus regularly enough. Somehow your dosage of Venus is off. You're really underdosed in terms of love and intimacy and pleasure. And when that's the case, then you might get obsessed with what you think will give you satisfaction. But the truth is, the satisfaction is a longer process where you commit to love yourself deeply. That's what Venus-Pluto is all about. Deep love, deep, satisfying intimacy, deep, satisfying, sustainable intimacy that builds and deepens slowly over time. And it's like, if you don't have that kind of relationship with yourself, deep, satisfying, sustainable, pleasurable intimacy with yourself, if you haven't figured that out, the way in which to have that be satisfied every day, whether you're with a particular person or not, that your need for deep intimacy is satisfied within yourself. If that's not the case, then we tend to get obsessed with a projection onto someone who we imagine will give us what we really need to give to ourselves every day, and get good at giving ourselves every day, and develop a kind of commitment to love ourselves and have deep intimacy with ourselves every day. Now, what does that look like? What is deep intimacy with yourself look like and feel like? That's a deep question let's see if I have an answer. The first thing that comes to mind, I feel like I have deep intimacy with myself that I find pleasurable, just being in my own skin, being in my own animal body as it moves around planet Earth. That pleasure of just being an animal, moving. Like when your body is well nourished and you exercise regularly and you're kind of like, more in your life force, you're feeling your muscles and all of it, and they're all working in harmony. that's what it feels like when you have the pleasure of your animal body. And it's like, I know I've had ups and downs in terms of like how physically fit that I have felt. When I felt stronger vitality, stronger muscles, and other times where it's like atrophy has kicked in, like an animal that is not getting enough exercise, like a beautiful, oh, I don't know, any animal who's just not free to get enough exercise. There can be a kind of atrophy that occurs where you don't feel fully alive. And so this is a long way of saying that it's like getting more physically fit to the degree that you can helps you feel more the pleasure of your animal body. And so that's one way I have deep intimacy with myself, is just being out in nature, moving around. That is pleasurable for me, as it was last night. Just moving my body to the beach and feeling it adjust to the temperature dropping and feeling how I responded to the elements. That is inherently pleasurable. And of course, there's many other ways to have deep intimacy with yourself, like say spiritually. When you do any kind of spiritual self-exploration, where you acknowledge, wow, I'm a profound consciousness being, just like Venus, by the way, is a profound consciousness being who has manifested a physical body in a solar system. That's what we've all done. But on higher frequency levels, we are souls, and we can have intimacy with ourselves on a soul level. And I don't know about you, but when I've had that experience of kind of feeling like, oh, I've just spent a day with my higher self, like, whoa, that's amazing. And so, yes, that's more intimacy, deep spiritual intimacy on heart level with yourself. And then there's like deep intimacy with my own mind through, say, something like a meditation practice where you cultivate a witness capacity, and then you're able to observe your mind and the thoughts that are moving through it and neural connections that are firing like crazy. It's like you have intimacy with your own mind and you see its beauty and its pleasures. And yes, the experience of engaging with a book or a novel where your mind has this experience of somehow decoding symbols on a page and then taking you into a consciousness experience that can only be generated through the intimacy with you, the words, and some higher thing that brings it all together. And it's kind of like, yeah, that's deep intimacy with yourself when you just sit somewhere and read an awesome book. It's not something, I mean, you can read a book with another person or listen to a book on tape, which would be its own kind of shared experience of love and the mind coming together with another person. Yes, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but Mercury will also be conjunct Venus and Pluto from December 22nd to January 6th. Mercury, of course, is the mind and ideas and learning and reading. And our thoughts, one by one, Mercury represents. You think about Mercury itself, the planet spinning around the sun. It's going so fast, 3 times around the sun each Earth year. Mercury's just zipping around, and it's like our thoughts. If you watch them in a meditation practice, you're just like, whoa, my thoughts are all over the place. And yes, and so Mercury, Venus, Pluto is already happening. It's already being pulled by this longer engagement between Venus and Pluto. It's already there. It's just likely to be particularly there during that time, December 22nd to January 6th, approximately. And by the way, Mercury will be visible next to Venus during that time period. So it's one of those moments where it's easier to spot Mercury because Venus is so bright. You just look, there's Venus, and then you don't have to look very far at all to see Mercury, which is fainter light, but it has its own unique quality of light, which is so awesome to observe. I haven't seen Mercury that many times in my life, and that may be true for you as well. It's like you have to make more of an effort with Mercury to see it visibly. Um, and so, and sometimes it's like you don't know exactly where to look because it's not always right next to the third brightest object in the sky, which it will be, Venus. Do I have those months? Those dates, rather? So, oh, yeah, Mercury is visible from around the 26th of December through January 16th. But Venus is only visible during that time, whereas Venus is not visible starting around January 5th. So that's when Venus will be, yeah, it'll be going closer and closer to the horizon just after sunset until the point where it's just not visible. And then it pops out as a morning star just 7 days later. And so just to name this, Venus goes retrograde December 19th. And then halfway through her retrograde phase, on January 8th, she'll be exactly conjunct the sun. So between the Earth and the sun, and therefore not visible for a week because she's in the glare of the sun. During sunshine, during daytime, the Earth, Venus is right between the Earth and the sun, so she's not visible because the sun blots out her light. And so she goes retrograde December 19th, and then she's conjunct the sun January 8th. That's when she's closest to us. And then she goes direct. She is no longer retrograde January 29th. But she first becomes visible in the morning sky, I think as early as the 12th. But more likely, if you go out to see her in the morning just before sunrise, you might spot her as early as the 12th, but more likely to see her by the 14th or 15th. And so that is what's called her first heliacal rise. The first time you can spot her in the morning sky is the beginning of a whole new cycle. And that's something I'll talk about in a future video. But it's like, that's when she rises triumphant. She's just been closest to the Earth. She's just been blessed by the Earth, blessed by hanging out with us. And she's all lit up by spending time with the Earth. She's just fallen in love all over again with the Earth. And she pops out the morning sky and she's just lit up at her brightest and spectacular. First, low to the horizon just before sunrise, but pretty soon after that, she's back high in the sky long before sunrise, and you get to see her. It's like very unique to see her in the morning sky when she's at her brightest. It's just different than when she's brightest in the evening. It's like you're coming out of the dark and she is brilliantly bright. It's like she's announcing the new day, which is what she's doing. She's saying, look at me, you know what's about to come here? A star is about to rise. That's what Venus says when she has her first heliacal rise. And so, yes. And so I think this is a good point for me to name another big thing on my list, which is we're going to get the last of the Venus gates this month. And it happens December 5th, 6th, and 7th is when the crescent moon will be nearest to Venus after sunset. And she will be most exactly conjunct the moon on December 6th, depending on where you are in the world. But here in North America, she is closest to the moon. The moon is closest to Venus after sunset on the 6th. And definitely, these are important days to try to get out there and devote some time to intimacy with Venus, to connecting with Venus. That's what happens with the moon. The moon's all about connection and feelings and emotional closeness, emotional vulnerability. And so it's like you go out to observe Venus, and I say, get there for sunset, enjoy the sunset, and then see what emerges just after sunset. An incredible crescent moon next to a brilliantly bright Venus. And it's like you become more vulnerable in the darkness and you reach out more to the moon and Venus as the sun is completely set. And it's like there in that vulnerable connection with the moon and Venus, you're able to feel her and she's able to feel you, and you're able to connect and embrace and, yeah, be kind to each other. Like feel the kindness of Venus who blesses you with the experience of seeing her with the moon and the experience of just being in nature with the sky, and how awesome that feels. How it feels like, yeah, it's like how the sky feels like family. It does to me. It's like Venus, Jupiter, all of them feel like my family. And the planets and the sun are a family. This solar system is a family, and the Earth is part of that family. And it's like when you go out and connect with Venus when she's conjunct a crescent moon, especially in the evening sky, like just as the warmth of the day, which has energized you, it's like that warmth is still with you as you embrace her in the evening sky. It's like how like nourishing that is, how it feels like, yeah, it feels like a blessing, or it feels like grace that you get to have this profound experience of the night sky and the meditation on the night sky, where you trip out about, wow, I'm on a planet. It's moving around a star, and there's all these other planets and moons that are also moving all around this star. It's like, wow, it's amazing, it's profound, but it's also just so beautiful. It's so artistically and aesthetically satisfying on the deepest levels. That's what meditation on the sky, connecting with the sky and the lights of the sky, that's what it brings. It brings deep satisfaction. Yes. And so, where are we? The final Venus gate. I hope some of you have been following along with my previous videos this year, where we've been talking a lot about these Venus gates, where every month you get a crescent moon with Venus. Usually there's 7 of them. Sometimes 8. This time it's 8. This will be the 8th time that the moon conjoins Venus in the evening sky. And we've talked about how you can see each one of these gates being connected to a chakra. And so it's like as the cycles repeat each month, the cycle of moon with Venus repeats, it's like another chakra opens up. And so we've already gone through 7. It's like we've already busted open our crown chakras, and it's like Venus is at her peak beauty, peak brightness and peak beauty. And it's like, okay, our crown chakra is busted open, but we can bust open an etheric chakra, you know, a chakra that's not even connected to this body. There's supposedly way more. And so it's like that transcendent chakra is opening up with this last Moon-Venus conjunction of 2021. And so hopefully you'll have clear weather on December 6th. Please, please, please. And so, yes, what else? Okay, there's so many other things to say, you guys. Okay, so there's a few key things I got to be sure to cover here. We're going to have to do other videos. But I think you're getting the vibe here. I hope you're getting the vibe of the Venus-Pluto energy and how it's happening right now. And it's calling us towards deeper experience of love, beauty, pleasure. In terms of artistic creativity, this is an amazing time. I mean, it's like Venus herself is at her most profoundly beautiful phase, and she's creating art in nature, art through us in nature. And so it's like this is a moment where you can feel into how nature itself is artistic. And that we, being a part of nature, the forces of nature that go all the way out into the solar system and all the other planets, that we co create beauty and art with nature. And so, isn't that awesome? It's an awesome time to be an artist, everybody. And so, what's the next thing? There's a solar eclipse happening in just a few days here. When is it? It's December 4th. I am going to put that to the side, but the fact that we have a solar eclipse, it's only visible in Antarctica, really, but it's totality in Antarctica. And if you happen to be one of those few thousand people that have access to Antarctica, then you're lucky because you get to see a total eclipse that lasts about a minute and a half. It'll be streamed online. I'm going to try to watch it this time, but it's still happening whether you can see it or not. And it represents a moment when the plane of the moon intersects the plane of the sun so precisely that the moon blocks out the light of the sun from the perspective of Antarctica this time. And so it's a meditation on the powerful mysteries of the dance of the sun and the moon, and how, yes, it's like that's a new moon, and so it represents the beginning of a new cycle and the powerful force of nature that has new cycles every month. But it's a super new moon because they line up so exactly that you get a solar eclipse. And so it's like these eclipses, whether they're solar or lunar, mark powerful moments where like you get a decisive end of a cycle or the decisive climax of a cycle. That's more a full moon and a lunar eclipse. But with a solar eclipse, it's like the decisive, powerful end of a cycle and the beginning of a new chapter. And so it's like we're moving towards really starting a big new cycle here on December 4th. And so I think it's good to surrender to a new chapter in your life. And maybe you've felt this happening since the lunar eclipse about 10 days ago, I think it was. And so, yeah, we're in eclipse season, they call it. These periods when, you know, they're kind of like climax phase moments of the year, as well as this energy of a new beginning for a year. So they're really powerful 2-3 week time periods twice a year. And so that's where we are right now. A lot of energy happening. Can you feel it? And then, okay, here's something I didn't know about until, well, I knew it was happening, but I didn't understand this one part of it until yesterday. And this is that we've got a comet, everybody. We've got a comet. Their name is Leonard. It's not a great name for a comet, I feel. Comet Leonard is coming towards us. It's speeding towards the solar system, and it has an 80,000 year orbit, and it's not parallel to the solar system. It loops around the solar system from top to bottom. And so this isn't going to happen for another 80,000 years. A close flyby of Comet Leonard. But it is happening already. It's already possible to see it, I believe, in the morning sky, although I have not. Not yet. I didn't realize it was possible yet. It's going to be much more possible soon, and I'm going to just read something here to you briefly, and I'll link to it in the description box. But I was reading about Comet Leonard, and it's starting to get close enough where we can see it with binoculars. You're definitely not going to see it with naked eye right now, but with decent binoculars, you can see it. And you're going to be able to see it brighter and brighter until it gets to, let's see, it's closest to the Earth on December 13th to the 15th. And so just like Venus is getting close to the Earth, Comet Leonard is getting close to Venus. That's interesting. This extremely powerful and mysterious object called a comet is flying into our solar system as we speak. And you know where it's going to get closest to? Venus. It's going to fly within, I wrote this down, within 2 million miles of Venus. That's how close it's going to get to Venus. I think it's like 100 times that to the Earth, like maybe it's 200 million miles from the Earth, but within 2 million miles of Venus, so close to Venus that the dust trail will be hitting Venus, possibly meteor showers on Venus from Comet Leonard. That's amazing. And there's no other recorded incident of this where a comet created meteor showers on another planet besides the Earth. There was one in 2014 with Mars where we were able to see a meteor shower on Mars with our probes there, our rovers. I didn't know that till yesterday or this morning when I was researching. And so, wow, Comet Leonard is going to get so close to Venus that you'll know just where to look for it. And I can't believe there's going to be a conjunction to Venus with a comet on, I believe it's tightest on the 15th, I think it's 15th, 16th, and 17th, or 16th, 17th, and 18th of December. And so when you're going out with your evening ritual to see Venus and spend time with her, because she's at her peak beauty right now, when you do that, you're going to be gifted a comet. That's going to be your prize for getting out there every night, is you're going to see a comet getting closer to Venus each night. And the question is, will you be able to see that comet with naked eye? And I believe we will be able to. That's my faith. But for sure, you'll be able to see Comet Leonard within 2 degrees of Venus with binoculars. And those dates, again, I have it here somewhere. Yeah. It's right conjunct Venus, the 16th, 17th, and 18th. So it'll be closest to Venus on December 17th. And so if you get out after sunset and you look for Venus, remember that's going to be super easy to find. You could, with your naked eye, see a comet. That hasn't ever happened in human history as far as I'm aware. And so, well, maybe there were other comets, but I don't think so. This is pretty awesome. And so I definitely encourage you to get some decent binoculars to go out with, because even if it's visible with your eye, it'll be even more visible with binoculars or a telescope, obviously. And so, okay, everybody. Oh, there's still a couple other things here. Just to name that there's also the most awesome meteor shower of the year, of each year, happening in December, the Geminid meteor shower. Most awesome in terms of predictably get a lot of them. And this one, this Geminid meteor shower happens December 12th to the 14th, with the peak being basically late on December 13th into December 14th. Around 2 a.m. is peak visibility, because that's when Gemini is highest in the sky. That's where the meteors originate from. And so you're most likely to see them because you can look in any direction and catch them peaking around 2 a.m. The only thing is there's a fairly bright waning gibbous moon happening that night. And so that makes it a little, it obscures things a little bit. But if you get out closer to 3, 4 a.m., I know that's not easy, the moon eventually sets at 4 a.m. And so between 4 a.m. and sunrise, there could be a whole lot of meteors, and up to 50 an hour, but sometimes hundreds. And so that's worth getting up early for, I think. I think you just got to dress warm. Okay, and then was there one more thing? I covered that. I think I covered all that. And the last thing is at the end of December, Jupiter moves into Pisces. At the end of December, Jupiter moves into Pisces, and it approaches the conjunction with Neptune. Neptune will be at about 20 degrees Pisces when that happens, December 29th. December 29th, Jupiter moves into Pisces, and just to name, on January 5th, the moon conjoins Jupiter and close to Neptune. I feel like that moment when the moon first comes onto Jupiter in Pisces, and then very soon after that conjoins Neptune in Pisces. To me, that kind of feels like when the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction that will dominate all of 2022 really comes in. But it's coming in as soon as Jupiter's in Pisces, the 29th of December. But it's like, we can already feel it. It's already coming in. Jupiter got into Pisces earlier this year, got it, I think, up to 2 degrees Pisces. So we've already kind of been pulled into this larger wave, which is exactly what Jupiter-Neptune is all about. It's a big wave, a big consciousness wave, a big wave of positivity. Jupiter has to do with positive outlooks where you can see a bigger perspective, get a bigger view of the landscape, get a bigger view of things, a larger vision of things, the way in which, like, a hawk can fly up above the landscape and have binocular vision that expands out over a large territory, and then they can spot something. And what do they spot? They spot an awesome higher octave timeline, a more joyful timeline. That's what you can see. Like, if you can get up high from a big vision perspective, and we're talking about 2022 being the year of the vision quest, the big vision quest for the next 13 years of your life. That's how often Jupiter and Neptune come together. It's like you get to have this big vision quest, a once in 13 year vision quest, where you get to go up the mountain, see the expanse of all the possible timelines in the parallel universes that go on forever. You get to see the different parallel timelines and let yourself be pulled towards the more fun ones. Let yourself be pulled towards the more fun, joyful, uplifting timelines, and what it takes to get there. That's the thing. You got to be careful when you're seeing the big vision that you map out how to get there, because otherwise, it's like you just see it off in the distance. You don't have a sense of all the moves that it could take to manifest that big vision, but you can see some good routes to the joyful vision, the happy mountain landscape that is off in the distance. You can see some good routes. You can map them out, and then you kind of come down from the mountaintop in 2023, and it's like, okay, now I got to execute some big moves sustained over long periods of time to manifest that big vision. That's what we're talking about, moving into that already. But as you get to the end of December, it's like, it really pulls you out to sea and pulls you up the mountain, pulls you towards a pilgrimage or a vision quest where you get to see things from a bigger perspective. Okay, that's what we're heading into. I'm going to have a lot to say about the Jupiter-Neptune wave that's coming in. I've already been talking about it this year, but we'll be talking about it a whole lot in the coming months. There was one thing I was going to do, one thread I didn't tie up, which I just want to read here. I copied down a few things about the comet, and so I'm going to end with just reading these, and I'll put some links in the description box so you can do your own research about Comet Leonard. Maybe that name's going to grow on me. Comet Leonard. It feels kind of cute, doesn't it? A cute comet. Comet Leonard. Sorry if there's any Leonards out there. I don't mean to disparage your name, because of course you're a Leo as well. Leo is fantastic. Not that Leonard's not, but this comet's being called Leonard. Maybe we can call it Comet Leo. Yeah, let's make friends with it already. So Comet Leo, this is what I discovered. On December 5th, the comet will be to the upper left of Arcturus about 90 minutes before sunrise, looking to the east. By December 10th, the comet should be brighter and closer to the horizon below Arcturus at 30 minutes before sunrise. So you got to go out in the morning to see Comet Leo. That's interesting. We had Comet Neo last year. This is Comet Leo, Neo and Leo. So they should probably serve as contrasting comets, which of course they will be. And so, yes, you have to look in the morning sky for Leo up until, what does it say here? As early as December 14th, that's when you have to start looking for it in the evening sky. But let me finish what I wrote there, what I read there. So by December 10th, the comet should be brighter and closer to the horizon below Arcturus at 30 minutes before sunrise. If you can catch the comet near the eastern horizon in morning twilight on December 12th, it may be near peak brightness. So I'm definitely going to be going out in the morning, December 11th, 12th. As early as December 14th, the comet will be visible after sunset, low in the southwest to the lower right of Venus. On December 17th, the comet will be below Venus about 30 minutes after sunset. On December 19th, the comet will still be near the horizon and below Saturn. The comet will start quickly fading in mid-December and remain low on the southwestern horizon at dusk, while it moves to the southern hemisphere, quickly fading in brightness. Currently, Comet Leonard is sporting a small dust tail, but as the comet approaches the sun, it will become more active and may become brighter than predicted. The Earth crosses the comet's orbit on December 8th, making it possible we will see the comet brighten and the brief appearance of an anti-tail. That's a whole other story, an anti-tail. When the Earth crosses the orbital plane of the comet, we will be viewing the comet edge on, so the tail will narrow as the cometary particles stack up across its length, possibly making it a bit brighter. On the day before and after December 9th, the tail could appear like a lightsaber, since it is pointed at us and we won't see it fanned out. After December 9th, the comet will be between us and the sun, with the tail fanning out and probably brightening because sunlight spatters dust really well. Only time will tell how bright Comet Leonard will become, but it's worth checking in often to see its progress on this voyage around the sun. Yes, I saw a video, I'll link that in the box as well. An astronomy geek, like we all are, has an awesome presentation on the comet, and he seems very upbeat on the comet getting brighter than expected and being visible with the naked eye. And so I hope that is true, and I hope you all get to see Comet Leonard conjunct Venus. Wow, I can't wait. I hope I get to see it. And yes, I'm sending blessings to you all, love to you all, good sky watching experiences for this whole month and into next year. And I'll be back checking in with you, sending so much love.